One of the questions I often get asked when people come to me wanting to sell their home is how can they get their home ready to sell? So today I'll be talking about 5 things you can do to get your home ready to sell in the quickest amount of time for top dollar. Hi, I'm Daniel Roberts, Principal Broker of the Joyful Roberts Group of Premier Property Group, LLC. Today we're going to be talking about how you can get your home ready to sell. So the first thing that a lot of people may not be aware of is your home over time gets outdated. And that's kind of the nature of time going by. When you get a house that's new, everything's fresh, all the things are on trend, but 20 years later, things are no longer updated. Things are no longer the most modern trends. So one of the things to think about is how can you get your home up to current standards? But not only that, there's certain things throughout the house that just kind of age, and certain things don't age well. And these are what we call deferred maintenance. So deferred maintenance is anything that just through the course of being in the home, it's things you probably don't even think about, or things you're not aware of, like door handles that don't really work anymore, or just certain things that you've learned to live with, like a hole in the wall or carpet that might be torn up in certain areas. So these are things to take care of well before you actually are listing your home. And this is actually the good time to start working with a real estate agent and asking questions. What are the things that I can do to maximize my return on investment? Do I want to do everything? Do I want to do a top-down remodel? Usually the answer is no, because you may spend $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 doing remodels, but not recoup all of that when you go to sell your home. So it's important to know what the right things are. But that's the first thing, is deferred maintenance. The second thing I say is organize and eliminate. Over the course of being in your home, you accumulate tons of just stuff. And a lot of this stuff is stuff you don't really need and stuff that you don't really want to move. So if you can, figure out what you really need to go from where you are now to where you're wanting to be, and get rid of everything that you don't need. Because it's going to be a hassle to move, and it's easier to do this now instead of having to pack everything, then unpack it, and then go through and organize and eliminate, and to make the unpacking process down the road much easier. The second thing that's going to accomplish is it's going to make a buyer, when they go into your home, feel like there's more space. They're going to feel like they can live in the home a little bit easier because there's not so much clutter and stuff around. So it makes them think, oh, this is the perfect home for me because I want to be organized and clean, just like how this house looks. So that's why it's good to organize and eliminate, again, well in advance. And if you need help, you can always reach out to a realtor like myself. The third thing I would say, which also kind of goes in with the first thing, is what has been updated and what hasn't been updated. So this is a little bit different than deferred maintenance, because deferred maintenance is things that really need to be fixed. But certain things that could be updated but don't need to be updated, maybe like kitchens and bathrooms, maybe they're perfectly fine in perfectly good order, but maybe you think you could update some things or make some changes. But really the simplest thing a lot of times is like outlet covers or doorknobs and hardware on cabinets, those kind of things that are actually fairly inexpensive, but they look really nice when they're new. They really don't look great when they're old, but look great when they are new. So this is something to think of. When was this last updated? Number 4, I would say, is make your home look bright. So some of the rooms that you have may really not be eligible for this brightening process. If you have rooms that just don't have much windows, or there's really no lights that are accessible there. But what you can do is add lamps and add lights in places where maybe there weren't lights originally. So this is good for a few reasons. One, for photography. When the photographer comes in your home, they're going to use as much of the existing natural light as they can, and it's going to make the pictures look much better, and they're going to just kind of pop more, and it's going to make buyers more interested in coming and seeing your home. The second thing that this is going to do, when a buyer is in your home, they feel kind of like uplifted and cheery, and when a home's bright, it just feels like much more welcoming. When something's dark, it kind of feels kind of oppressive in some ways, and sometimes buyers may see that as a sign that something's being covered up, or there's just not as much of a positive emotion they get from seeing a house that is nice and bright. So the fifth thing I'm going to talk for this video is the curb appeal. The curb appeal is essentially as someone drives up to the curb, what's the first thing they notice? So this could be the grass, this could be the landscaping, this could be the paint of the house, this could be the door, any number of things, what kind of flowers there are. All of this really enhances the buyer's first impression. And that's really what this is all about, is creating a good first impression. There's a principle in psychology called confirmation bias, which is when we get an opinion of something, we use later facts to support that opinion rather than to contradict it. So if someone's first impression of your house is good, they're going to see everything else, and usually they're going to think of it positively if their first impression is good. If they drive up to the house and it really doesn't look good, then they're going to have a negative first impression. So then everything after, they're going to kind of compare it with a negative lens in mind. And it takes a lot to overcome that. So that's why it's important to have a really good curb appeal. And again, reach out and talk to your realtor about how to do this properly and cost effectively. And I've said a few times about talking to a realtor, and the reason I say it's a good thing to do to talk to a realtor, whether it's me or anyone else, is because they really are the professionals. They see this all the time. They see what works. They see what doesn't work. They see how money is spent and spent potentially not well, and they see how money is spent in the most effective form. So some people think that they use the realtor just to put their home on the market and list it and sell it, and that's really not all the realtor should be doing. The realtor should be involved from the beginning and maybe even far in advance from what you might consider to be the beginning. So pick up the phone, ask questions. I'm available if you want to talk or have questions, or maybe even considering if you want to do a remodel versus if you're wanting to sell or add an addition. There's a lot of possibilities. So pick up your phone and give me a call. Well, I hope this was a helpful video, and I hope that as you're going through the process of selling your home and getting it ready, that you have an enjoyable and peaceful process doing so. Thanks guys, and I'll see you in the next video.